it's over, I guess.
Is that exciting?
Well, yeah, for us, it's a little bit different. But I think we got out of it when we need to get out of it. I think the team's in a good spot. Get a chance to finish out this game the right way, with the players that'll be playing in it, and then refocus where we're at next week. But we're not at next week yet. We're in this game right now, and we need to get a lot out of this game and see some guys perform in that last one. And so this will be a great opportunity for that.
Zach, is there anything else you're looking for out of a guy like Andre Yosebosh as you begin to think about the
consistency? I mean, there's always things that we're working with these guys on that we want to see more of. That I think the game provides a good time where the coaches aren't on the field. We have to make the adjustments as it go. How do the guys handle that? How do you handle new looks that maybe we haven't practiced? Because you don't game plan as much for these games as you would a regular season game. So it's good to see the players react and see what they can take in. And so he'd be one of those guys you get a chance to observe that.
Do you feel like Jonah needs any more reps, or do you think that it would be?
He won't get any reps in this game.
Will you have any starters to play?
No, none of the starters. None of the starters are playing this game.
This year having those starters work in a little bit. What do you feel like that was? How do you feel like that went? Do you feel like this? What was the impact?
It was good. I mean, those guys they had a long drive. Got a chance to deal with a lot of communication. There's a lot of shifting and motioning on that drive, which is good. So I think that there was a lot of things that they could take from it. Just that's the longest drive we've had all training camp. Usually we're kind of manufacturing 12, 14 play drives. So an 18 play drive is good work for them. Good for them to feel that, because there's also the excitement of playing in a game, and so that's a whole different conditioning level than what we deal with in practice. And so I thought that was good for those guys' experience.
Will Burrow make the trip, or any of the injured guys make the trip?
There's some guys we'll leave behind.
One of them.
There's a lot of guys we'll leave behind.
Zach, do you like the idea in this preseason game when you can kind of pinpoint some of the maybe battles that you're really trying to eye and let those guys play almost a full game? Do you like that as a strategy in this third game to really get a really long look at some specific type of players right now?
You want to make sure you've seen everybody, as you're dealing with final roster spots and practice squad spots. So there's that element. What you're asking is to see a guy play a whole game if you ever needed him to do that. We don't have anybody in mind that's going to play all 4 quarters and get every rep for that reason you're asking. It's more so, we're going to get good work with some guys that still need it, and then give some opportunity to some guys that maybe haven't had a lot of opportunity yet.
How much do you feel like is up in the air in your mind still? Do you feel like most of it in your head is pretty close to set?
I think you have to forge yourself the next 3 days to see how it all shakes out. There's always things. That's one thing I've learned. There's always things that can occur over the next 3 days that to say that the decisions are set in stone is unfair and unrealistic, because there's still a lot that can unfold over these next couple of days that affect the final roster.
Is there a position group that you thought was most consistent from start to finish?
I think the linebackers, it's a group that you would expect that from, because there's a lot of experience in that room. And so those guys I thought have had a good camp so far. I could say that about a lot of positions. I think there's been a lot of positions that have a great camp. But if you're talking about one that comes to mind, I just think of the depth there, and I think of the experience there. And it's a consistent group for us.
How close is the competition between Jake and Trevor going into Saturday?
Close. Those guys have both really worked on the things that we've asked them to improve on. I do see them getting better every single day that passes. There's more comfort, in working with that group and making the checks and doing the things effectively that we want them to do. So it's been a tight race.
Their progress, can you give us some insight on what you see, because we only see
a lot of them are subtle checks at the line, making calls, making route adjustments, getting us out of plays, operating quickly at the line of scrimmage, over in a blitz period. We use the 40-second clock, and so they've had that working against them too. And so there's just a lot of things, and then the timeliness of operating through a progression, and sometimes you all looking over there, they might throw the ball for a 3-yard check down. That might be a big play for us, considering maybe a decision they'd made 2 days before where they'd forced in coverage. So there's things like that might not seem all that sexy to those watching. But for us, those are the things that you're looking for your backup quarterback to be able to effectively do.
Zac, there's so much focus on trying to compete for the 53-man roster, but in your mind and the rest of your coaching staff, what about the practice squad? These guys competing for, maybe one of those 16
Yep.
spots?
I mean, that's what we factor in all of it. It's not just the 53, it's the 16-man practice squad. And so, again, that can sometimes be a little more in the players' hands on whether they're accepting that or not. But, again, that's all taken into consideration with these final practices and this final game. Absolutely, that those spots are talked about quite a bit.
Looks like Cheeto increases his activity every day. I mean, does he look as good as ever?
He looks as good as I think I would have hoped that he'd look at this point in camp. He's made a lot of plays on the football. He's done a good job just preparing mentally to put himself in a position to come out and play like this. And so I'm pleased with the plan that thing is all of a sudden like echoing at me. Pleased with the plan that Matt Summers and his crew had in place for Cheeto buying into it. And I think we've integrated him into practice the right way, and he's looked really good.
With starters out and some minor injuries, it looks like the number of available corners on Saturday is limited. Is that going to be a little bit of a nerve-wracking situation?
Yeah. Nerve-wracking? I don't know if it's nerve-wracking. It becomes stressful for Chuck and Lou and those guys. But, that's an area. We're not real deep right now with guys who have been injured. So it can be stressful for those guys in game.
He's been out for a while. What's he dealing with? What's his timeline?
It's been a hamstring, and so just dealing with the hamstring. Timeline's hard to say.
A guy like Mitch Wilcox just going back a couple of days ago, do you anticipate him playing Saturday?
I do. We wanted to see how he got through these 2 days, and I think that he's looked as we had hoped in these 2 days. He's feeling really good. How much work we'll get him on Saturday, I'm not sure on that yet, but I think it'd be good. I think he's proven to us that he's in good shape and ready to go and mentally understands what we need out of him from a scheme standpoint, and has done a good job executing in the couple practices he's gotten so far.
How would you evaluate Jackson Carter's strength?
I think, like a lot of guys, just continuing to improve and be consistent, and that's what we're asking of a lot of those linemen in that room. Is just show us the consistency and the continued improvement and understand the teaching. And so certainly there's a lot of guys in that mix that I think have done a good job taking the coaching and working to improve.
Zach, how beneficial was last year going to the early regular season offensive struggles against Tampa 2 and other things? How beneficial was it? I know you guys figured it out in a lot of ways, but was that something that was good for this team to go through those struggles to kind of learn going forward how to adjust?
Well, I think the biggest thing is what we learned from opening day is you gotta protect the football. We lost 5-0 in the turnover battle, and really missed 2 extra points basically. So those are the things that I took away number one from that. And so I think that's as you focus on what's important week one, those are critical things. It's just controlling the things that we can control and winning the turnover battle, and that's more what I took out of the early part of the season.
Do you think that was overblown a little bit, the coverage and how teams were playing you differently?
Anytime you don't have the lead, you're going to see a lot of those types of coverages.
For Mitch Wilcox, the familiarity with him knowing the system,
Yep.
How beneficial is that when you evaluate his place in the 53 since we haven't seen him much?
Well, it allowed you to make the decisions we would have made anyway in terms of bringing him back, knowing he had an injury. Maybe if it's a player that doesn't understand your scheme, you're less likely to sign a player who's still going through the rehab process. And so I think that speaks to what we thought he'd be able to do at this point when he actually started practicing, and he has proven that to us. And so because it's harder for guys, especially at the tight end position, if you've never repped any of the plays that we're asking you to rep, you're going through the rehab and you're sitting in meetings, but to actually then have to go perform, it takes a whole lot of reps to get those guys going. And that's why with Mitch, we've invested 3 years of time and energy in developing him as a player, and he's approached everything the right way. And so we wanted to get him back because we know the type of player he's become. And that's a credit to Mitch. That's a credit to James Casey. That's a credit to Darren Simmons and Colt, those guys that have helped in his development over the last couple of years. And he's a guy that you really enjoy seeing have the success that he's had, having been here and worked from where he was day one. He knows where he was in my eyes in day one 3 years ago, and to where he's worked up to. You're proud of a guy like that he's put in that work.
How unique, Zac, is the tight end position for evaluate and staff when you have so many different guys that bring different skill sets at that position?
Yeah, it's you got to factor it all in, and that's the tight end is a Swiss Army knife. They got to be able to do a lot of different things, and usually they're not going to get a lot of credit for doing them. And so it's a room that those guys. I think they're proud to be a part of that room and all the things that are asked of them. And James does a great job instilling that in those guys. You're right. Some guys have different skill sets, and how we mix and match all that stuff is to be seen, as we get here through the next week.
How has Drew Sample fit in that regard over the last couple
Really good.
years?
Yeah, Drew, really good. We got a lot of trust in Drew. One of the smartest guys you get on the team, and can fill a lot of roles for you that way. That, again, not roles that get a lot of credit or are really noticed by all, but noticed by us, and Drew's always done a great job of that.
How's Travion doing?
Travion's doing good. I think Travion's continued to make good progress. What the timeline is, don't really have that for you, but I think that he's making good progress. He's in a good spot.
So you don't anticipate him playing?
I do not anticipate Travion playing on Saturday. Yeah.
Have you seen enough from Challenger Jones as opposed to her?
I think all the work that those guys will continue to work is good, and so we get another game to evaluate those guys, and I think that's important.
Looking at the offense, is it a part of your philosophy to be willing to make big changes over a season or over the off season? And kind of why is that the case?
I think I've been a part of plenty of teams where you go in thinking what your identity is going to be in the spring, and it evolves over training camp, or spring and training camp. You think one way, and then you get into the season, and something turns out to be much better than you anticipated, or worse than you anticipated. And so I think that we take a lot of pride in being willing to evolve where we need to. Sometimes it can be a stretch of opponents you play that maybe play a certain style. So it may appear that, oh man, they've really shifted, when really that's the mentality you have to play certain teams. And that's kind of happened in spurts over years. But I do think that we've been an offense particularly that's been willing to evolve after certain game stretches where maybe we're not as effective as we wanted to be. And so we need to make some changes to allow our guys to be more productive. And that's not something we ever shy away from if necessary.
The coaches talk about just like the collaboration that goes on. Why is the group as a whole, and also listening, what I mean?
Yeah.
Incorporating those voices. Kind of why does that work so well?
Because I think we have a really special group of coaches, and you all may know all of them in great detail, and some of them you may not. But I really think that it's you're going to look down the line and see the special things these guys have done. And so there's a lot of trust on my end to just let them go coach their guys and have ideas in their areas, and let's utilize them in games. And when you get suggestions in games, to pivot to those. It wouldn't be the case if you didn't trust all those guys. Part of it's we've been together forever. Part of it is they're here for a reason. They're really good coaches. And so, I've been on a lot of great staffs. I think this is a really, really special group of coaches as a whole. You asked specifically about the offense. I think on offense, it's top to bottom. There's a lot of depth there.
Coach, I don't know how this happened, but it seems like ping pong has somehow become part of this team's identity. A couple of the guys led on about how you've been shaking things up in some team meetings. Why was that important for you? I think this was your brainchild.
No, I wouldn't. I'm not going to take credit for that. I'm going to say that I don't remember the sequencing of it. Jeff Brickner brought this up in the spring on whether or not we'd want some professional ping pong players to come in training camp. And so, and Burrow, maybe even not one leading to the other, he mentioned something as well in the springtime too. I think it was after Brickner, and I said, yeah, we're already on that. But those two guys mentioned this a long time ago, several months ago. So that'd been in the works. We had it last week. Two people come in and did an outstanding job. I think the players really ate it up. They got a chance to compete. Trent Taylor is certainly the best ping pong player on the team. I have no reservation saying that out loud after watching him. But it was a lot of fun to see those guys play against professionals, and I think that they really enjoyed the change of pace. We did after the rookie talent show. So we did rookie talent show. We ate Skyline as a team, and then we had the ping pong stuff. So it was a really great night.
Are you worried about the flack you're going to get now that you've given Trent Taylor the crown, the best in that room?
No. I mean, I think if everybody observed what I observed, it's fair to say.
Wilcox, number 2.
I'm not ready to give Wilcox the number 2. There was enough evidence there. Yeah. I mean, I didn't see everybody play. I mean, just seeing Trent Taylor play against a real professional, I think it's hard to say somebody else would have that same performance. But Mitch left a little bit to be desired in my eyes.
That won't get back to him. I'm sure that will.
Yeah.
Zach, Kyler Boyd claims he's number 2. Do you agree with that?
I didn't see enough from TB. TB didn't play in front of the team 1-on-1 to 11 like Mitch and Trent did. A bunch of guys returned serves. TB did a good job returning serves. But I can't say that I have all the information to crown him number 2. I can just say I know Mitch isn't a runaway at number 2 by any stretch.
How about this? I guess what was the reasoning for bringing them in?
Just fun. Training camp's long. And so, we've done a couple different things over the course of the training camp to just try to change up the rhythm and change up the energy. And so one of the things we did during the team meeting, we canceled meetings. This was Tuesday night. For us, that's when when I walked in here and you said training camp's over, I was kind of surprised by that because for us, training camp really ended on Tuesday is when we closed camp, changed our schedule up, and night times meetings all shifted down to regular in-season times. And so Tuesday night really marked for us the end of training camp. So we canceled meetings and then brought in some entertainment.
Monday.
Was it Monday? Sunday to Monday. When did we practice? Sunday to Monday? Monday night. Tuesday was player day off. And we practiced this Wednesday, Thursday. Yep, got it. I'm ready for a normal week.
Any notable rookie show performance?
All terrible.
Shout out.
All pretty bad. There might be one or two that I'm just going to lump them all together. It's all pretty bad.
Just step back to tight end. See, Mitch is healthy enough that he wouldn't have, that if he made the team, you wouldn't have to go heavy. You would be a regular cut, right? You think
I'm not going to speculate on cuts we're making at this
but
point.
he's healthy enough to make the 53.
He's healthy enough to. He would if we didn't feel like he was ready to practice, we would not have brought him back to practice.
Do you remember a great rookie night performance in the past?
I mean, like knocked it out of the park. Not really. No, nothing jumps out. I think Evan did. Yeah, Evan maybe impersonated not a coach. He went up a level, and that was pretty impressive. So, as a video impersonation. So, I wouldn't have done it, but he did. So.